Hi, so AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming was last night, and we're just going to go through what happened. You know, we had the women's tag team final, 2 Continental Classic matches, and just a bunch of setups, so we'll go through as we normally do. So the opener of the show was surprisingly, to me, the women's tag team tournament final, and I was quite surprised that was the final. The opener, I just thought that would have been later on in the card. I thought they would have opened up with a C2 match, but I wasn't against it. I feel like, well, it's the Babes of Wrath versus the Timeless Love Bombs, Harley and Willow versus Tony and Mina Shirakawa. As a match, I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. I thought the main things I took away was how much Harley Cameron has improved. I think she's improved a lot. I feel like you also notice how good Mina Shirakawa is, and just there's things with Willow and Tony. You're just like, you know how good they are, but it's always nice to get a nice reminder. I thought the main thing of the match was really, it was Tony and Willow taking the backseat. They were mainly the hot tags. And it was mainly Harley and Mina taking a bunch of the stuff. Willow's hot tag originally was great. She has this point where she's rolling around with her and Mina Shirakawa. And like they're rolling around trying to get the pins, and then they break it. And then Willow has to tag out because she's dizzy. I thought that was great. Mina gets a figure 4. I thought that was really fun. I thought the fact that she got the figure 4 on Harley was great. And then Harley reversed it, or like moved out the way. Then Tony come in and moved Harley back. So then Willow come in and adjusted Harley back where Tony moved her from. And then Willow and Tony started squaring off. And them two got into a bit of a scuffle in the match. I thought that was really fun. I thought there was clearly respect, but we knew there was going to be a respectful show out anyway. But the match, it was fun. There wasn't really no insane antics. I just thought it was fun. Willow was, I don't want to say Willow was the standout because I feel like that's deserved to Harley or Mina because they've done a bunch of the stuff. But I think you just watch this stuff of Willow and she takes the pair of hair, Tony and Mina on at the same time. Obviously, it's a hot tag, staple. But it's just more in the sense of, I just wish, you just look at this and you go, this is why Willow's meant for bigger things. You know what I mean? And she's so adored. The crowd, I'll get it out the way now, all night were phenomenal. It's one of the best crowds we've had this year, I think. Atlanta, Georgia, I think it was. Phenomenal. I really enjoyed that crowd. The finish for the match was Mina Shirakawa goes for the cutter on Harley, but Harley Cameron reverses it and does her finisher. Then she tags Willow in. Willow does the powerbomb slam, whatever it was, and they get the win. I was surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised. I was like, either or could win. It was an equal chance, but Babes of Wrath, it was a great moment. If they win they're the first ever women's tag team champions for AEW. I thought that was really fun. It was a great moment. As much as I think, still have a bit of thoughts in my mind. It should have been Marina and Megan Bain, but I'm not against it. It was a great moment, and you could tell after it because Renee gets in the ring, and she's got the mic, and she gives it to Willow, and Willow just instantly puts Harley Cameron over. Like you could tell it's a big moment for Harley because Harley's basically new to this. She puts it over a bunch of times. The second ever match was against Willow, and the first ever match was on AEW Dark. That just shows the progression of Harley Cameron. I feel like it's a good call to have these two as champs. It kind of does. I hate saying this. I hope it's not for long because I feel like I think Willow's needed in the singles division. And yet you can do it both ways. Like, look at Bandito. But I don't think they will. I'm happy. I thought it was a great moment. Like I said, I thought it was a really good moment. It was deserved for Harley Cameron and Willow especially. It was good to get their moment. After it, Tony and Mina come over and show respect. That was always fun. It was nice to see. And it feels like it was real because you can tell, like, with AEW Grand Slam Australia, and obviously Harley and Tony Storm are both Australian. So obviously they've got a connection, and I assume they're close. You could tell by the Grand Slam stuff, the promos they've done. They would clearly have a good relationship, and Harley seems to be just nice anyway, as most of the AEW talent do. So it was just nice. You could tell the emotion was there, and I really enjoyed it. So it was a solid match. It was a good end to the tournament, and I hope the women's tag team doesn't just fall off. I hope it's a consistent thing. I do. So after this, it was Samoa Joe and the Ops backstage, previewing the main event, which is Eddie versus Joe. And Joe just basically calls out Eddie, because Eddie said, obviously, in the last week's Dynamite, that he wants the old Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe says, basically, I am the old Samoa Joe and you don't stand a chance. Stuff like that. It was solid promo. Quite intense, but, solid promo. What you expect from Joe. Now, after this, it was break, then it come back, and it was Moxley and Marina, Garcia, and Yuta backstage doing a little promo. Moxley's basically saying he's got his back against the wall, but they're still hungry, they still train hard. People doubted him, but, he's John Moxley, so he doesn't really have to prove that, stuff like that. Then Garcia interrupts and says the thing about the Death Riders is they really, they're the only ones who are prepared to take stuff, and that's true. Obviously building up to the match he's got with Mark Briscoe for the TNT title on Saturday. Fine promo, whatever. I wonder if it's important that Claudio wasn't there, though. I wonder if that's important. So after this, we had the first Continental Classic match of the night, which was Okada versus Jungle Jack Perry in the Gold League. Now, obviously, Jack Perry was Darby's replacement in the Continental Classic. I mentioned that a few times, and this is his first match. This match was fun. I thought this match was really good. It wasn't the standout match of the tournament or the night, but it was fun. It's always good to see Okada in matches like this. Jack Perry showed out, and a lot of people were impressed by him. I was glad about that. I kind of predicted that because Jack Perry's single work doesn't get the credit it deserves, in my opinion. Jack Perry, he looks good. He looks sharp in this one. He looked weirdly emotional at the start, and I think that's what they put it over in commentary too. They compare Okada's not really emotional, but I think Okada did show glimpses of that emotion ability, like that emotion anyway. And, so there's points where he's telling Jack to come on, hit him, and he keeps inviting it on, and Jack Perry does it. And then after 3 or 4, Okada just does one, but instead of normally doing one heavy one, he does 3 heavy ones. It's great. The highlight of the match, really, was Okada gets... I think it's a lock or something. I forget exactly what it was. But Jack Perry bites the foam, so it breaks the lock. It was great. That was really... No. It was the other way. Jack Perry gets the lock, and then Okada bites the foam, so it breaks the lock. That was fun. And then later on, Okada goes for... I think it's a tombstone or a brain bust. Yeah, it was a tombstone. And then it breaks the hole. Jack Perry had bit his dick. I thought that was great. I thought that was really fun. Stuff like that. It's just... again, this match it was great. This match was really good. It just wasn't one of those matches where you're going to go, oh, this is one of the great matches of the Continental Classic. But because it had that, I don't want to say iconography, but you get what I mean. That moment, it's going to stand out for a lot of people. I'm never going to forget Jack Perry biting Okada's dick. So I love that. I love that it had that bit of personality to it. Jack Perry had a bit of personality here. He was a bit more aggressive, a bit more... not spiteful, but had a bit of venom in it. And then it clicked to me in the entrance, actually. And they put it over in commentary that it's because of the Don Callis family stuff with the books and stuff that they had going on last week. Which is true, but I also remembered Okada and Perry were in the Elite at the same time. And obviously Jack Perry doesn't like the Elite, and obviously Okada's fell out with the books now. So I just thought that was a fun little link. I didn't think they put that over, but they should have. I thought that was interesting. I forgot about that. It goes without mentioning, Okada lands some insane drop kicks. There's one specifically on the turnbuckle that sends Perry flying early in the match. I thought that was great. I always love Okada's drop kicks. I think he's got the best drop kicks in the game. The finish was good. It was a Rainmaker. Okada sets up a Rainmaker. He goes for another move, but Perry reverses that. And then it goes into another move, but then Okada ends up top end. I forget exactly. And then he hits a final Rainmaker, and then it's the win. So Okada got 3 more points. He's now joint lead with Kyle Fletcher at this point in the Continental Classic and the Gold League. Jack Perry's still on 0 points, inheriting from Darby Allin. Super good match. Really enjoyed it. And I cannot wait to see other stuff with Jack Perry, honestly. I feel like we already got... did we get Darby versus... No, who did Darby face first? Oh, Darby versus Pac. So I feel like if we got Jack Perry versus Pac, I know we won't, but that could have been fun. That could have been really fun. That's the main takeaway I had with Jack Perry. I thought he fits the Continental Classic like a glove. So I was really happy about this just for my own ego. After the match, it led into Don Callis jumping the ring, and it led into the Don Callis and the Bucks / the Elite segments, which I thought was great. I thought that was a great call. I was happy with that myself. But it's basically Callis comes out and he offers Jack Perry, because he was impressed by the match, spots in the Don Callis family. And then it starts getting intimidating, saying, look, Jack, what's taking you so long? If you don't, I'm going to attack, essentially. And then Jack Perry gets the mic, goes, look, I'm going to do something. I'm going to, again, like in the match, I'm going to bite off more than I can chew, which was funny. And then he starts going for the entire family there. And but at this point, they've got the money because Don calls out the Bucks first off, saying he's got the money, stuff like that. And then Luchasaurus comes out to help Jack Perry, but he stutters at the ring. He doesn't get in. And it's like, what? Because there's so many Don Callis family members. And then the Bucks come in and attack with the chairs. I should say, at the start of the segment with the Don Callis stuff, Takeshita's there, but he's just got his hands in his pockets. He does not give a shit. I loved it. I thought that was hilarious. I love this whole Takeshita attitude. But that's important because the Bucks attack them, and then you're just defending them off, and then they have Don Callis in the ring. And like, there's no getting away for Don Callis, so he's a bit like cornered. He gives the Bucks the money. The Bucks get the money. And then they go to attack. They go to super kick Don Callis. Oh, I forgot. They give Okada the BTE trigger, which I thought was a bigger moment. You know what I mean? But then they go to super kick Don Callis, but Takeshita pushes Don out the way and takes the bullet himself, which I think's a big deal because obviously it bleeds into the betrayal. It shows that Takeshita still has some care for Don. It's just it's not going to end well. But that was the segment. Yeah, that was the segment. I thought that was a good segment, honestly. I was happy that I called that. After this, it's not really a true segment, but it shows the conglomeration backstage, and they're all in like a big huddle celebrating the Babes of Wrath win. Roderick Strong's in the background for arms folded, not happy. Then my glorious king, Mascara Dorada, is there for some reason, and he's just happy to be there. Then Tony and Mina Shirakawa come in and celebrate too. That was a nice little scene. It wasn't really a promo. It was just like oh, look what's happening. That was cool. After that, it shows a small vignette of the show and Mercedes' recent form after the Statlander match. Basically, in my opinion, confirming that the belt collector loss is happening. The breakdown's due to happen. Wasn't really much to it. It wasn't Mercedes in it. It was just like a comp, like an edit. After that, we got Eddie Kingston backstage with Renee. And Eddie's very nervous for the match, and he starts going on because it was Terry Funk's death anniversary, and he just wanted to make him proud. And then he starts going, he wants to make his mum and dad proud. He starts getting a bit emotional. Renee says it's okay, don't worry. And Eddie's just the point is, end of the day, I don't get a lot of title matches, and you don't know how many you're gonna get, so this counts. Building the match up. It was a great promo as you expect from Eddie Kingston. He wasn't ranting and raving. But it was, it was quite heartfelt for Eddie, and he basically says, "Joe, you better get me out of there because I'm not going nowhere." And I like that. The crowd, again, you can hear the crowd for these backstage segments there, and they're just screaming Eddie like they're over. Honestly, I would have loved if they give Eddie more time. Oh, and especially in the ring, Jesus. Oh my God, that would have been off the scale. Honestly, the crowd tonight, I can't really say it enough. They were great. Now, after this, we got a segment that wasn't confirmed when I done my preview, which was a Mark Briscoe Town Hall. Obviously, just building up the match that he's got on Saturday with Danny Garcia. Briscoe starts cutting a promo saying people who are doubting him, they can kiss his big white ass, as he says. And then he just goes on rambling. Then Yuta interrupts with the mic. And then he just starts just talking smack, calling Mark an idiot. And then he calls him a chicken. And then Garcia gets the mic and he goes, "Hey, I ain't gonna lie, Yuta, that was a good one." Why? I don't know why that made me laugh. But then Garcia and Briscoe get into it. And basically, just saying, "I'm gonna beat you up" and stuff. And then Briscoe goes, "Okay, it's a match right now. Let's go for it." That's on Saturday, but if you want to fight right now, we'll fight. And Briscoe, and then Garcia goes, "Oh, let's do it." And then Garcia slaps the microphone out of Briscoe's hand. And then Briscoe slaps Danny Garcia, and then Danny Garcia instantly gets irate. The Death Riders, Marina, and Yuta hold him back. And then Brian's on commentary, and he just says out of nowhere, they should just slap Yuta too. It's just I love this small, well, not small, you've got a lot of spite, and deservedly so. He's just got for Yuta. I just love that. I thought that was a fun little segment, good little build for Saturday. I can't wait for that match. I can't wait for Saturday, to be completely honest. After this, we got Triangle of Madness backstage attacking more jobbers again, calling out for Statlander and Hayter, but Statlander comes in and chases them all away. And basically just says, "I thought you wanted to fight." So it shows that they're kind of scared. And that was it really. No Hater, not really a big segment, just kind of showing that, they've got Statlander's attention anyway. Now, the main meat of Dynamite, probably the most anticipated thing about Dynamite tonight, was Swerve and Hangman teaming up against Powerhouse Hobbs and Shibata of the Ops. That's next. And what happened was the match just went insane. Hangman, I was surprised Hangman still had his face music, but I kind of get it. He's still technically face. He's just manic again. And he doesn't even enter from the stage. He enters from the stands this time. And so the swerve. And Shibata sends the Ops Dojo out. And then the match just essentially goes to the concourse. Swerve has the chain, so does Hangman. But Swerve has the staple gun and starts staple gunning the Ops Dojo guys. And then he teases Shibata, and Shibata staples one of the guys. That was sick. The match just goes into the concourse. It doesn't even start at this point. It's just a fight on the concourse. And Hobbs is facing Hangman. Shibata's facing Swerve. Hobbs gets up through a table, and Hangman gets a beer from the bar. And then Swerve gets basically beaten by Shibata, getting put on the chair. Then Shibata doing the run-up, stop, and kick. Stuff like that. That was fun. It eventually does make its way back into the ring. It looks like Hangman was teasing throwing Hobbs off the thing on the stairs, like he did against Dynamite, but he never. Kind of brutal. And then when it gets into the ring, Swerve's taken out, essentially. So it's basically Shibata and Hobbs teaming up on Hangman. And they're just basically beating him up. And then they're getting cocky with it, and Hobbs teases the buckshot. Because Shibata does a low blow on Hangman. So you're basically taking advantage. Hobbs teases the buckshot. But Nana's there, and I thought this was insane. I thought didn't get put over enough. Nana cheering on Hangman, because he was, wasn't doing whose house, Hangman's house, but he was doing like the clapping and stuff. He would obviously he's part of Hangman's team with Swerve, so you know what I mean. And so Nana sees Hobbs going for the buckshot. Nana gets involved, says, "Well, what are you doing?" And then Hobbs grabs Nana, and then Nana's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" And then Swerve comes in, trips Hobbs up, and basically attacks Nana. Hits the kill shot. No, he hits the Swerve stomp and stuff, and then eventually takes Hobbs outside on the other side. Hangman's still having Shibata trying to handle that. Swerve throws Hobbs into the steps on the other side, and then Hangman's being put into a lock by Shibata, and it looks pretty much in, as you expect from a Shibata lock. A submission hold, really. But I was surprised about this, because they didn't interact at all until this moment in the match. Swerve makes the Swerve stomp to save Hangman in the match, which I thought was really interesting. Again, I didn't expect that. And then after that, Swerve and Hangman stare at each other, as you expect for the two of them. Tension rising, showing how much history there is there. Thought that was great. And then at this point, Hobbs is on the other side, and he's screaming, going, "Come on, let have it." And Swerve and Hangman team up. They go outside, they take him out, and put them on both of the shoulders and double powerbomb him through a table on the outside. And the match is chaos. The match is pure chaos, and I love the fact that they went that avenue with it. And then they go back in the ring, and Shibata's there. Hangman sets up the buckshot lariat. He hits the buckshot lariat and then goes in the other corner. Swerve runs in, gets the kill shot, and Swerve gets the pin. I was really surprised that Swerve and Hangman won. I was really surprised they went this avenue with it, but then I'll explain later on in the match, in the night, that kind of makes sense, and it's a good way to go with it. I thought the match was fun. I thought it was definitely a good way to go with the chaotic way of it. I thought going to the concourse at the start was an excellent idea. I thought overall, the character work, I thought Hobbs done really well in character work. I thought he was a great heel here. Shibata is obviously the Shibata, never going to boo the man. And Hangman and Swerve, again, I like the fact that they still, show this tension, but I don't know why. I just feel like, I know All In happened, and he helped Hangman by just giving him the chain. But them teaming up just feels like a bit, what? I want to know the reason for it, and I feel like we will eventually, but I really cannot specify, put enough credence on it. They have to specify why. They have to give me a reason why Swerve and Hangman went, yeah, okay, let's just go after this guy, when they've both got the same goal, which versus against each other, so it makes no sense in a way. But I'm never going to complain about Swerve and Hangman teaming up. And it's probably a discussion for another time, because I can never state this enough. Swerve and Hangman is one of my favourite stories in all of wrestling history. I think it possibly might be the favourite story. Everything about it, everything that it included, everything that it set up, stuff like that. It's phenomenal. There's no bad low point in Swerve and Hangman's rivalry. And yet this is obviously going to end up being a part of that. But we need to be careful, because I feel like that's got such a level of quality that we can't just throw everything with it. And I know that might sound a bit pessimistic, but it's a big deal for me. for Swerve and Hangman to finally be teaming up, and I still just want to know what the reason is for both guys instead of, oh yeah, do you want to team up even though we've shown each other the teaming up? Like, him saving Hangman at Full Gear, that means I didn't have a problem with that. But then them standing with each other, that should still have a bit more tension in it, right? I don't know, I feel like they need to still kind of pay that off. There should still be a reason, because they should not just be like, I hate you, you hate me, but I'm going to stand next to you. That's not their relationship. But as a match, again, it was chaotic, it was fun, and it achieved the goal that it needed to do. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. I was surprised that they got the win, but it was a solid match. So, after this, we got Don Callis backstage, and he's calling out the Bucks, saying they stole his money, which was the Bucks' money. Dumb. And he calls them out for a 3v3 match at Manchester. I will be going. I cannot wait. You could probably guess the Bucks need a third. Who's it going to be? And I'm just really happy that's happening. I'm really happy I can see that. And then after that, it gets even better for me. We get we get Stokely backstage, and he's calling out the Bang Bang Gang again, Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson, and they say, look, here's what happening. You're getting the FTR match, and you're going to get the shit beaten out of you at Manchester. I cannot wait. I think the build for that has been really good. I don't think the Bang Bang Gang win, but I'm happy. I'm happy I get to see that. I really have been enjoying that. So I hope. I'm getting it. I'm glad I get to see that. These are two big things for me. I'm very happy about this. Now, the second Continental Classic match of the night is also in the Gold League. This is Kyle Fletcher versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Kyle Fletcher's the current joint leader now with Okada on 6 points. And Speedball Mike Bailey's on 0 points. He has not won yet. This match, for me, is match of the night by a substantial margin. And that's kind of saying something, because all matches were good, as expected on AEW Dynamite. But this match was excellent. I thought the speed of this match, Speedball and Kyle Fletcher, is just phenomenal. I don't know if this is... I need to think if this is better than him versus Kevin Knight, because that was insane. Speedball, look, the start of it, Speedball just started right away. Just getting right into it, frustrating Kyle. Kyle getting in, landing a few stuff, doing the cocky stuff. And it was more towards the end, the finish of this match, the finishing, last 10 minutes of this match were phenomenal. This was just pure, who can survive? And it was just baffling the crowd. The crowd being as loud and as hot as it was all night really benefited. They loved this, and so did I. It was great. There's a bunch of stuff, Kyle, the kicks for Mike Bailey, the chops, stuff like the power bombs and stuff by Kyle Fletcher. There's a power bomb he does on the barricade quite early on to Speedball, and you see the mark after it on his back. It's brutal. It was a phenomenal match, honestly. There's the finishes. It was just pure resilience, just kicking out. It's like, because there was a point where, with obviously Speedball's back, you're like, okay, this is going to clearly damage the guy, and it did. But then Fletcher got damaged so much by Speedball, and the fact that Speedball was able to damage Fletcher so much was insane. And it was just the point where when both guys were kicking out at every pin, you're just like, how? Like, genuinely, how? It was a phenomenal match. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. There was a bunch of flips, kicks. Kicks were the main thing for Speedball. Just everything about it. I don't think... The thing is with this match and the Kevin Knight match, I don't think Kyle Fletcher will get the credit, because I feel like his quality is kind of known now, and I kind of just want to give respect. Like, Kyle Fletcher is insanely good. He's so young, he's so good, he's so explosive, so powerful. His character work, the egotistical, cocky nature of the guy. Oh my God, the guy is phenomenal. And in this match, the credit will go to Speedball, because you see less often of Speedball doing this stuff. But with Kyle Fletcher, you got to give the credit too, because match is only good as two people near enough, right? So Kyle Fletcher in this match, insanely good. Speedball, again, insanely good. So happy Speedball gets the win. Gets it via a roll-up, because the reversals in this match, that was the main story. It was reversal after reversal after reversal. And it was just, how? It was just insane. Like, the powerbomb and the sunset flip and stuff, a lot of, with the flips with Speedball, Fletcher was getting the knees or moving out the way, or the feet, stuff like that. When Fletcher was going for this powerbomb, setting him up, Speedball would just happen to sneak out the way. Oh, it was the agility of Speedball here was just insane. Everything about this match was genuinely phenomenal. This is the match of the night for me by a substantial margin. I think this is the speed I look for in a big time match. I think the match never really slowed down. It had its obvious moments where the guys are tired. Obviously, I would expect that. But as a match, the intensity, the flurry of stuff, the amount of attacks, because of the speed and because of the heavy-hitting nature of Kyle Fletcher specifically, it just amps it all up to an nth degree. It's honestly, if you've not watched this match or the highlights or whatever, watch them. This was the match of the night, and it's one of the best matches of the Continental Classic thus far, and we all know how good the Continental Classic has been thus far. It's been phenomenal. But yeah, Speedball gets the win. His first win on the tournament. Kyle Fletcher looks bewildered. He looks shocked, because he should have had it won. He was being greedy. He goes for his original brainbuster or powerbomb or whatever it was, but then he goes for another thing which Speedball reverses, but then goes for another, and then Kyle reverses that into the... Well, Speedball reverses that into the pin. So it was kind of cockiness, and it was only with 1 minute remaining. So Speedball gets his first 3 points. Kyle Fletcher's he is upset and livid that he didn't get the win, but it was a great match. Honestly, this is... The Gold League has somehow not stole the show, because they've all been good, but 2 of the matches of the tournament for me have been with Kyle Fletcher. So let's just, acknowledge how good this guy is. So after this, we get Hangman backstage with Renee. He's pacing back and forth. He's still livid as always. And Renee basically asks what's next. And Hangman says what's always next is the AEW Men's World title. And this is what I was saying before. This is, why it makes sense for what they did with the match. And he says to Eddie and Joe, obviously because the match is later on the night, it's the main event. He goes to them, whoever wins, I'm next. World's End, I'm next. And yeah, of course, great. However, this is 100% setting up either the Revolution Triple Threat, like from 2024, again, rematch at World's End, or this is setting up the 4-way, including Eddie Kingston. This is... Yeah, definitely, because I feel like I want to kind of say it now to be ahead of the curve. Hangman's saying he's next. Hangman didn't get the pin. Swerve got the pin. So that's going to cause tension right away. So that's the avenue they surely are going down. So, all for it. Solid promo, as you expect from Hangman. Good. Now, after this, it's backstage again. With a lot of backstage, with the Bucks, and they're like, okay, we need a third for the Don Callis match. And they go to Luchasaurus, and they go, what did you say, big man? And he goes, ugh. And he points at Kenny's locker room, and they go, yeah, you're probably right. And then they're like, oh, I didn't get this. They go to Kenny, okay, what do you say one more time? It's like, well, you reunited as the Elite. Like, you're not, like, cool now. You're just okay with each other. You're not really a team no more. You just accepted each other's help, and you're civil. No, I thought you were a team again. So Kenny basically, because there's $1 million, and he said there's $1 million here, and basically Kenny goes, it's beating up the Don Callis family, I'll do it for free. They call him out saying, see you in Manchester, good night, bang. Lets the Bucks in the dressing room. The Elite are back, it's happening at Manchester. This is why I'm excited, really happy. And the one thing I've been wanting from AEW Dynamite the last few weeks is the Elite progression, honestly, for the Elite to have a match together again. We're getting it, I get to see it live. Big 2 thumbs up. Can't wait. So next is the main event, which is Samoa Joe versus Eddie Kingston for the AEW Men's World title. Samoa Joe enters, the aura's off the charts. Eddie Kingston's ridiculously over as always. The match starts, it's basic lockups. They both start locking up again. The corner gets separated. And then it gets, they start getting each other in the other corner after that. And they start, doing chops and kicks. Eddie Kingston in this match is hilarious, and it's just the pure screams of pain. Come on, Joe, or stuff like that. Just Eddie Kingston naturally loud, and it's just, honestly, he starts like going, come on, Joe, gets hit by one, stuff like that. I love it. Eddie looked really good here, and it was excellent in the sense of his movements, his strikes, his chops are the main thing. Obviously, that's expected with Eddie Kingston, but he obviously looked nervous going into it. But there's like points where Joe's going for a lariat or a running knee or whatever, is running off the ropes move. And Eddie will just hit with a lariat and stand there like it's expected. And I love that. He was like very cool, calm, collected, like such confidence in it. I loved that. Loved how he done that. Eddie had a good bit of, just a good solid amount at the time looking on top against Joe. I really enjoyed it. Early on in the match, they go back to the ropes. and Hook grabs Eddie's leg, trying to pull him back. Instantly booed. Great. And Eddie goes, "What are you doing?" And then Hook gets sent out of the arena. I thought this was going to set something up with Hook later. It did not. But the match was good. Joe looked solid. Joe did look solid, but it was mainly about Eddie. Eddie had a great showcase here. I thought Eddie was going to win. I'll say that now, Eddie Kingston did not win. And that's sad. But I thought Eddie looked great. I thought a lot of the stuff, it was mainly the chops, specifically, when he was going toe-to-toe with Joe, saying, "Come on, Joe," getting the chops, like trying to firm it. And very, very little do you ever see Eddie Kingston sell this well. And he gets a chop off Joe. And don't get me wrong, Samoa Joe's chops are no joke. But he falls off a chop. It's insane. It's really good. And this was another whole just resilient stuff with Eddie Kingston. And it was a great match. I was really happy for Eddie to get this good of a match. It's this kind of what we've been wanting from Eddie since his return. I'm kind of glad we've got past the Hook stuff. Whatever you think of it, I think it was not good. And we're pushing on with Eddie as a singles guy. That's the way to go, 100%. Definitely. And this shows why. You could see, honestly, this shows you how much weight Eddie has lost. And honestly, the crowd is so behind him. You get invested. I wanted Eddie to win anyway. But you want Eddie to win just from the crowd in this match. Oh my God, the crowd love this guy, and as they should. It's Eddie Kingston. He's the guy. Oh, great. One of the main moves Eddie goes for in this match is the neck crank, and it was quite weird because it was affecting Joe, but it just didn't go nowhere with the neck crank. It looked good. Joe was clearly getting hurt by these matches. You can hear him like early on going, shit. Like it was genuine hurt, and I don't think that was like a work or whatever. I really like that. But Eddie tries a lot of knee cranks. Joe's main move is the lariats, but when Eddie lands the lariats on Joe, he does this a few times in the match. It's great. So good. Eddie reversals are great in this match. He reverses stuff into a DDT, and they reverses out of just loads of things with Joe. That's the main thing with Joe. Joe looks, like specifically with the lariats, Joe will get a combination in, and there's a bit of fluid. They have a strike off, and there's Joe just lands about 20 strikes in a row. It's ridiculous. And then he goes for the lariat, but Eddie Kingston again just stands and gives him a lariat. Stands tall. It's great. Oh, really good. And then, to be honest, the finish was surprising. The finish was very surprising. Eddie goes for a neck crank again, I believe it was. And then Joe reverses it into a Kakina clutch or whatever. It's a clutch, the choke Joe does. And he has it in deep. I thought Eddie would fade. Eddie Kingston taps. And that was really surprising to me. But I also like it from the perspective of someone made Eddie Kingston tap. That's a big deal for me. And the match was great. It was Joe retains, obviously. But I thought the match was really good. I was really happy Eddie got this good of a match. And I honestly hope they don't just take Eddie out the world picture. Because there's no need to. It was a really good match, and it was really good for Eddie to be in that picture. And honestly, after this match and how he's been even the Shibata match on Collision 2 weeks ago, the way to go. It's the way to go. Keep Eddie Kingston in this picture, and that's not even going into the Dynamite off air after the show, because Brian was on commentary, and this is insane for me. Bryan Danielson puts over Eddie Kingston saying, "Eddie, I love you," And I was like, Brian, I was also like, yes, great. But I was also like, Brian, no, call him a bum. That's not your thing. But Brian basically said, Eddie, I used to doubt you and stuff like that. I used to call you a bum. But the fight, resilience, everything, the heart you show was insane. And he basically says to Eddie, and it clearly makes Eddie emotional. It really gets to Eddie. Obviously, it's the greatest wrestler of all time saying, Eddie, I believe in you. And he goes, Eddie, you were this close. Don't give up. That title's yours. I believe. And he goes, I believe in you, Eddie. And it's it's ridiculous. And then he goes to Eddie, take it home. And Eddie's just to everyone, thank you so much. But watch that if you haven't. The Dynamite off ads on the socials. It was great. And if this is the start of an Eddie Kingston world title push, yes. All the yeses in the world. Yes. 100%. That is phenomenal work. But the match itself, great. The setup, Eddie Kingston sets up Hangman Head, sets up Joe, sets up a lot of things. Sets up Swerve. A lot of things are set up now. And again, I am just really glad Eddie Kingston got this moment, because the guy deserves it. And also the future for Eddie Kingston looks very bright, and I'm really glad about that. So yeah, Dynamite was great. Winter is coming, continues its great run of form. Only 2 C2 matches, but they were still good. They were in the Gold League. I'll put the table up now for a quick minute. But then also the backstage segments confirming some matches for Manchester next week. Stuff like that. Really happy with, obviously. And again, that Fletcher versus People match was phenomenal. Really happy with that. And it was just a solid Dynamite. Obviously, we've got the AEW tag team, women's tag team inaugural champions. That's big. Just full of fun. Just a solid, great Dynamite. I feel like that's making it sound like, oh yeah, this is great Dynamite. No, this was like a really good Dynamite, but it's C2 season, and it's always going to be great. I enjoy Dynamite most weeks. So I really enjoyed Dynamite, and I'm really looking forward to where this goes. I feel like this is a great example of, okay, let's do a great show for this week, but cap ending a lot of stuff. That's probably what it is. A lot of stuff was cap ended. A lot of good stuff goes, like the women's tag team tournament being a great example. Okay, that's finished now, but let's look to the future. That's always exciting. What did you think of Dynamite this week? What was your favourite part? Did you enjoy the Kyle Fletcher versus Speedball match as much as me? And here's a question. Do you think Eddie Kingston eventually wins that AEW Men's World Championship? I hope to God he does.